All right, let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs and yet another what's going wrong with the Chiefs offense video. It's kind of weird that I've made so many of these despite them being 8-4 at this point. And quite frankly, given their schedule, I still think they have a great chance at the 1 seed. They play the Bills, who could give them some trouble, but then you have New England, the Raiders, the Bengals, and the Chargers could easily go, finish the season 4-0. So if they win next week, great chance at the 1 seed. But again, for the Chiefs, the 1 seed is not the goal. Getting into the playoffs is not the goal, and going on a deep playoff run is not even the goal. Their goal is to win a Super Bowl. And what we're seeing right now is a team that's not looking like they're about to win the Super Bowl. So what's going wrong with them? I know sometimes my intros run a little long, and this one's going to be one of those, so sorry. I'll get into the film in just a second. But I do want to set up a bit here. The past few weeks, there's no denying there have been some tough games. In the past 5 games, they only scored more than 21 in one of those games. That was against the Raiders, a game that they started off down 14. They lost to the Packers, they lost to the Eagles. They beat the Dolphins, but that took, a defensive touchdown, kind of a weird game there. Got crushed by the Broncos. It's been a tough month or so for them. And I think a lot of people say, well, it's mostly the same roster, right? Shouldn't they be able to figure it out? There's been some tweaks, but shouldn't they be able to, make things work? Well, there is one thing that's pretty different, the tackle play. Like going over here to Jawan Taylor, which, listen, if you think it was a right move or a wrong move to go out and, let Orlando Brown Jr. walk, okay, an argument can be made, but, the reality is the offensive line has not looked as good this year, and a big part of it is because of the 2 new tackles, Jawan Taylor and Donovan Smith, who they brought in. Taylor paid a lot of money to bring him in. Well, here's him trying to block Rashawn Gary one-on-one here, and as you see right when this play begins, Gary's going to get through essentially immediately. This is a very quick pressure, like I said, though, or like I always say, I should say, typically for a quarterback, even if there's a quick pressure, if you have a guy getting open quickly, it can be okay. Well, is Mahomes' first read open here? As you see, no, it isn't at all. Kelsey makes sense. He should be the first read, but he's not getting open. But even with all of that, there is still one extra aspect, right? Which is, can Mahomes move? Can he scramble? This is always a part of Mahomes' game, right? Is even if no one's open and there's quick pressure, he can still somehow find ways to make plays work. That's part of his greatness. Can he do it on this play? Well, no, he can't. He's, is able to sidestep Gary, but is not able to go too, much else. Eventually does get brought down for a sack on that one. So that's been an aspect of it, right? Is the pressure. There's been a lot more pressure this year, and while typically we kind of feel like, Mahomes is so great, what does it matter? Well, on this play, it mattered. It did. Like, this one's going to be another play worth mentioning so it's 3rd down and 9. This is just something we're seeing far too much. So, okay, 3rd down and 9. Like, this is not a terrible situation. Not an ideal one, but it's the Chiefs. They can convert on 3rd and 50, right? Well, Mahomes takes the snap. He's going to look around and doesn't love what he sees. And again, we can't see what's down the field. This is just a broadcast angle. But at the end of the day, for Patrick Mahomes, it doesn't matter how good you are at throwing the football if there's no one you can throw the football to. And this is just something we've seen far too many times this season. And you got to give credit to the Packers defense, again, for sure. Like, that last play, Rashawn Gary is really good. This play, their coverage is good, right? Like, all that stuff is fair. But because the coverage is good, now Preston Smith has time to, you see he's generated a pressure on this one. So, okay, that's, not ideal as, Donovan Smith, I'm not even going to say it was a terrible block. It wasn't a good one, obviously. But at the end of the day, you only have so much time. As you see, Preston Smith is able to go up and they once again get a sack for Mahomes. So, these are issues. These are things you have to fix, and you have to fix quickly, quite frankly, for Kansas City, because you're running out of time to fix these things. But you know what? Okay, we know that, quite frankly, the receiving core isn't going to be great this year. One quick fix I would say is Rashee Rice needs to be getting more touches. Currently has 407 snaps on the year. He needs to be playing. You need to treat him like he's your best receiver, quite frankly, because he has been your best receiver this season. It's just an issue, guys like Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, Marquez Valdes-Scantling were all role players last year, and they've all taken steps back this year. So while a lot of the names are the same, hopefully they can step it up. But as of right now, it's not looking like that's going to happen. But okay, so you have issues. Your tackles aren't great. Your receiving core is actively bad right now. Okay, that it is what it is. But guess what? You can still find ways to win, but they're doing other things wrong. We got to talk first about Andy Reid. I don't know what he was thinking here. I just don't. 2-point attempt. Mahomes should have the football every single 2-point attempt. He just should. I don't care if you have faith in your running game. Don't get me wrong, if you want to, have a check for a running play, then okay, I can understand that. And listen, I get it. Pacheco was over 6 yards per carry on the day. Okay, fine. I still don't like it. I still don't want this to be happening. Because look, as you see, Mahomes is going to give the ball to Pacheco, and on this play, Green Bay is all over it. It's one of those things where I understand it, game flow, all of this, but at the end of the day, it's an issue. And if you want to say, well, the receivers aren't as good, so that's why we can't throw it here, well, then that's an issue. You need to have good enough receivers for you to throw it here. Either way, this is an issue with the team. As you see, Green Bay swarming Pacheco here. Pacheco's going to do what he can, but he can't do much, and they weren't able to, convert on that one. And those 2 points did matter, right? That could have ended up being the difference in the game because they lost by 8. Well, if Kansas City scored but then didn't convert the 2-point conversion, well, then that would have been the game. So, it mattered, even though it didn't ultimately matter in the game. It could have mattered. And also going over here, listen, if you're the quarterback, you're going to get blame. I think Mahomes has gotten too much blame this season. Mahomes deserved blame for this play, though. I mean, you're down 5 at midfield with 5 minutes left. It's like, hey, say what you want, all that other stuff. You have an opportunity here. It's man coverage. They're running just a little pick play. And as you see, it works. I mean, Mahomes takes a snap, and you have Sky Moore open. So, okay, all those other issues I mentioned, can't use any of them on this one. I mean, this is a play that's working. Mahomes throws this far, and I'm not really sure why. My best guess is he misread the coverage, thought it was zone, and thought that he had a wide open receiver and was trying to kind of lead Sky Moore a little bit further. I don't know why he would have thought that, but that's my best guess. Possible he just whiffed on the throw as well. Sky Moore did kind of turn around a little bit, but that's because that's where the ball should have gone. You have a defender over the top, throw more of a line drive. Sky Moore played that right, in my opinion. Mahomes was the one who screwed up. So what's the issue with the Chiefs' offense? I mean, you still have the best player in football. I mean, I don't care what anyone says. Mahomes is the best player in football, and I don't think there's a close second. I don't. He's the best. You have a great interior offensive line, and even the tackles, while I'm giving them some criticism, they're not awful in pass protection. They're just not great in pass protection. They're really bad in run blocking, but again, they don't run a lot, so it's not the end of the world. But do I think the Chiefs' offense can get better? I think Mahomes has to be Superman for this offense to put up a ton of points, or you have to play a bad team. Because, again, their overall numbers are actually pretty good, the Chiefs are, but that's mostly from just dominating against bad defenses like the Bears, like the Chargers and the Raiders. Although the Raiders' defense has played okay this year, but it's mostly against dominating bad teams. When they play good teams, usually it hasn't worked out. And I think that unless Mahomes plays awesome, I don't know if it's going to work out in a dominant way. That being said, could you get into the playoffs, get the 1 seed, and have Mahomes play awesome for 3 straight weeks? Of course, it absolutely could happen. So wouldn't be surprised at all. But a big win next week, because if you beat the Bills, you're probably going to get the 1 seed. So I think that's a very interesting game. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.